Well, seeing as how conventions themselves are a more social business, they do have to pertain to advertising with each other, advertising. Sometimes conventions focus on one or the other. When I say social business, they focus on the social aspect and they interact well with everyone around them, or they focus on the business aspect. And granted, the interpersonal relations might suffer a bit, but they tend to do well if they focus on business. But again, the social part needs to be a huge part of it. Because I've seen conventions start up that tried focusing on purely the business aspect. They were there to make money, and they pretty much killed themselves before the second year. I've seen ones that focused on the complete opposite side as well, ones that focused entirely on the social aspect. And due to that, they would do things like only hire friends and whatnot. Every person that expressed an interest in their convention ended up working for the convention, so they didn't make nearly as much as they could have. And then there's the part of interaction betwixt conventions themselves, not just the running of. For instance, certain cons tend to have problems if they, say, spread off from one into the other. It's unfortunate, especially from a business aspect, but if they would do more effort to focus on helping each other, especially if there's no conflictions. Like, it's understandable if you get a bit irritated because you've got a convention and then, like, another one's got one, like, 2 weekends afterwards, and people can only afford to, like, purchase a ticket for one of them. Mm-hmm. That's all well and good. But a lot of them seem to be a bit more frustrated with the others, even when they're nowhere near each other. Just because drama happens. It happens a lot. Someone's girlfriend will hate someone's boyfriend way down the line. Or people will just have feuds due to one thing or another. Somebody took another person's cosplay, somebody did this, that, blah. But the main point of that is... how should I put this? These sort of misunderstandings or downright feuds tend to happen, and personally, from my perspective, it makes the convention suffer. Even, okay, let's talk about it from, like, the actor's perspective. If one clique, which you have friends with from one convention, is irritated with another clique, or gets caught up in rumors or something, gets irritated with another clique from another convention, then you can't really be around those two friends at the same time if they have nothing to do with each other. Because then they'll say, oh, this person's from here, and that means that they support this when they did this wrong to our convention, but the other one will be like, no, you guys are being assholes. And it honestly brings down not only the productivity, but the general morale of the people that are working for or in said convention. You know, I've seen, honestly, with most of the convention boards, I've seen friends that had to choose sides, friends that say, I wish I could see that friend again, but unfortunately they're over on the other side, as though it were some other nation, and not just a group of people doing what they like to do, which is the whole point of the convention. I've actually seen siblings that broke apart for, amongst other reasons, a difference in ideas of conventions, and it's really saddening, yes. But this sort of thing tends to happen, and it's just very upsetting. I've more along the lines of heard of from the first person of other people's perspectives, more than I've actually seen elitism. But I haven't been around it nearly as much as some of the other people that I know. Whenever I hear about the elitism, I don't like to just take hearsay, so I'll go and talk to other people about it from multiple accounts, and they'll all say the same general thing, which is unfortunate, but whenever I hear about that, I try to just take it with a grain of salt, disassociate myself from the people that would be supporting the elitism, essentially.
Right.
There's a difference between I've had more training than you, or I've been here longer, or whatnot, and saying I'm better than you. One of those is actually quantifiable. The other one has never been and will never be. So, in terms of elitism, again, it's something that happens especially when people put in social dynamics, and anything that you have to train for, there will always be some form of elitism or favoritism in jobs and the like, which, again, sucks. But with how the elitism is in the con community, thankfully it's not as prevalent as people would think it was. I've seen convention guests or just regular congoers that will come up and ask the people that they've seen doing the shows or the people that they've seen running the cons and be like, hey, it seems like you've gone through a lot of this, and you must be so good at everything. And most of the people that I know actually retain their humility and say, oh no, I just started, or oh no, it's just something that I like to do because it's fun. Naturally. As for the elitism, again, it's one of those things that brings down the morale as a general, and it really shouldn't exist, but like a lot of things, it does. As for the shaming aspect, I've seen that happen, and it's honestly a double-edged sword, because let's say you were to shun another person strictly on their relation to a convention that you're not working for, you're not affiliated with, and you've decided that you do not want to be affiliated. There are many, many aspects to a person aside from what they do. Especially what they do in their spare time. Honestly, if we're in a restaurant right now,
yes.
If I hated someone because they worked in a restaurant, and purely because they worked in a restaurant, how much common sense would you assume that I had as a person? Very little. I apply that to this as well. If you strictly dislike someone just because of something they decide to do in their spare time, hell, even if you decide to take something against someone just because they like to do something, it's just wrong to me. Actually, as a matter of fact, that's what most of these conventions are about. From everyone that I see at conventions, a good few of them are people that, they're not shut-ins, but they like to believe that they are. They're just slightly introverted. They have certain specific things that they like that they feel the general populace doesn't enjoy as much as they do. So we've created conventions for them. You're essentially trying to out people for things that you made your business solely around. It's entirely ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, granted, certain people will always have visions that inside of their own clique, their visions can't come to full fruition. So it's understandable that there's more than one convention.
Mm-hmm.
However, sometimes it ends up escaping people that reality steps in. Such as, I remember seeing a show a couple years back. It was really funny. The show said, by the way, guys, if you don't like the way a convention's run, why don't you make your own? And every single convention owner stepped up almost to yell in rage as soon as that happened. It was one of the funniest things that I've ever seen. But it's not one of those things that's for everyone. Every con owner that I've seen of a successful con has not only had the sense for business, but they've actually been charismatic as a person. Mm-hmm. You have to, going back to what I said before, it is a social business. You have to have both the social aspect and the business aspect.
Yeah.
But overall, I haven't seen people get particularly full of themselves, per se. But again, it's also not the best idea to say if you were to start out a convention, and I'm not saying that it'd be a bad thing too, but it's always best to keep reality as a perspective. Granted, you're making a convention based entirely around fantasy or science fiction or anime or this or that or the other third thing.
Of course.
But a lot of conventions, actually almost all conventions, do not make profit in the first year. They're lucky if they escape getting out of the red in the first year. And a lot of people seem to forget that one. The following year, again, you're lucky if you break even. The year after that, if you get the year after, if you do get a third year, usually that's when you start making a small amount of money. Again, nothing to live off of, but it means that more and more people are becoming interested in your convention, and you're able to cater to more people. You can use some of the profit or the balance that you made from last year and get better guests, do more advertising, reach out to people as a general, and get what you think it is that they want. Honestly, starting out in this was a bit different. Wasn't necessarily introverted per se. I just didn't really
Fit in.
Yeah, not quite. Even starting off working for conventions, I wasn't particularly a fan of them. I got started because my group of friends liked doing conventions, things like that, or rather going to conventions. And then they heard that conventions were auditioning, and I was like, why would a convention audition? I don't. Is there things to do there? Like, I had been to one particularly long-standing convention and a couple of very, very small ones, and they told me, "Yeah, we're going to do this convention. Would you like to come with us?" And sure, why not? I have nothing to do with. When do we practice? Weekends? Okay, yeah, I don't have anything to do with weekends, so I started going off, and I got to meet quite a few interesting people because of it. I'm particularly grateful for that. I've seen probably more drama than I've ever seen on stage, but I've also made not only friends, but particularly healthy life experiences within a smaller group, which means that it didn't affect the vast majority of my life, as most people, when they go into adulthood, they'll find, love of their life, and then a great breakup, and then something particularly bad happening to them, and have to find out who their friends are and aren't based off of the few people they know from work or school. In conventions, it's nice because you get to meet like-minded people and people of so many different skills and talents and variants that you can make friends that you never would have met anywhere else in life. I know a ton of dancers. I know nothing of dancing. I know a ton of fighters. I've had martial arts experience. I know a ton of singers. I can carry a note. I don't need the bucket for it. But I would never go into singing. You get to see the passions of people and get to know people that eventually become greats in their own areas. Titans, honestly. No, not attacks. Just actual titans of their industry or their profession and whatnot. And I like that. It's honestly the best thing that I can say I've gained from being involved in conventions as general. I've got friends and connections and lots of different things I would never have had I lived a normal life and not tried to reach out and connect with the general group of convention goers.
So as you can see, you are not the only ones holding this particular opinion. There are others who acknowledge that there has been quite a big, how do you say it, schism, I guess?
Schism.
A schism, made entirely of schisms, within our community that is threatening to tear us apart.
He hung out with Snoop Dogg a little too long.
Schism is nicht brother Resny. Why do I have dreads? Oh God!
It's okay. At least he's starting to smell real mellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Hey man, you rolled the West Speed. If you oh god damn it!
This bed now has hydraulics.
Oh yeah!
Anyway,
Rolling down the
back
street,
to the
smoking Indo, sipping on gin and juice, laid back with my mind on my money, on my money, on my mind.
Right. I want to thank those who have contributed, giving their opinions about the matter, and like I said, no names will be mentioned in the interest of keeping everyone safe.
Exactly, but
You are.
and you know who you are.
You know who you are. I don't know why.
Why was his face covered in pixels? How does he even see?
It's all right. He has an amp for that.
Alright.
It's 2014. We have apps for everything.
You're right, man. What am I thinking about?
Except for making apps. Actually, no, there's an app for making apps.
All right.
Yay.
The apps.
The apps app.
Alright, to conclude this topic, I just have a couple things to say. As I mentioned before, I relish the spirit of competition. However, leave emotion, leave all the drama at the door when you're dealing with other con owners. I mean, we're all part of one big community full of geeks.
We're all
And
geeks.
cosplayers.
And
And
nerds. Nerds.
We're supposed
We
to
had
be...
our revenge 20 years ago. To this date, wasn't it 1984?
Well, you
when
kind
Revenge
of
of the
cut...
Nerds came out?
Yes.
Sorry.
You kind of cut...
Go on. Go on.
I don't...
I'll get to my revenge part.
He got his enthusiasm.
Go on.
is getting
Yeah.
Go on.
We are... It's like I said, we are a whole. We are one giant community that helps each other. You know, we're supposed to be friends, especially, you know, when it comes to conventions. You know, rather than, you know, shunning each other or shaming each other just because one person has a different point of view and the other does. Then...
Can't we all just get along?
You see, the one thing that kind of gets involved in this, and I hate saying this, what's one of the big things that gets exchanged at a convention?
STDs?
Money.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Regrettable as it
The
is.
other kind of STD.
Yeah, really.
The other kind of STDs, yes.
Seriously,
money.
like the problem is a lot of this stuff stems from money being exchanged with each other, or money not being made or being made, or there being some sort of agreements. Because when it comes to these conventions, you got to keep everything above the table. You can't slide a couple thou to your buddy because everything's got to be on the ledger, on the mark. Because if anybody decides, hey, you know what, I didn't get enough.
Oh, Christ.
Then
It's
you
never
have to be
pretty
able to.
when you throw in the lawyers.
You have to cover your ass. You have to be able to cover your ass. The trouble
Asses must be truly covered.
The trouble is that whenever people start arguing and money is involved, the arguments become very deep and they become very personal.
Ironically enough, they also become incredibly shallow.
Yeah, that too. But I digress. There've been incidents where convention staff have argued with their owners or with other people involved over money being exchanged or not, for instance, having to pay for the venues, or having to pay for guest liaison work, or any other stuff that needs to be done. And there's an argument over how much has to be paid or how little. Stick to the agreed, amount. Don't try to whittle your way at the last minute to skim yourself a couple $100 for yourself.
The haggling begins and ends before the convention actually starts.
Exactly. Seriously, get that stuff out of the way.
Sort the paperwork, please.
And make sure that whatever you do, keep your balances, straight and above board. Because
Get your shit together.
That was a pretty good way of summarizing the whole thing.
Yeah,
actually.
pretty much.
Get your fucking shit together.
Fantastic.
Don't try and finagle with each other over this cash, because money's the root of all evil. It corrupts everything. Just like man corrupts all that which he touches. I think that's a biblical verse, but that's not the point.
Money corrupts me for a while, but then I drink Pepsi and I'm all but right.
So then you became corrupted by Pepsi instead.
And then you drank Coca-Cola, and now you're multilingual.
Pepsi Man!
Code Red, I'm coming for you. Anyway.
Oh, Christ.
They're coming for you, motherfucker! Anyway, no.
Do not forget, my friends, paper at the end of the day is just a pile of money with ink in it. It's what we make of the meaning of that paper that defines the kind of business transactions we're going to have in this world.
And at the end of it all, keep the business part to it, and don't take it so damn personally. Like, hey, I thought you were my friend. I thought we were supposed to, be cool with each other. Like, no. We're friends, and I'm cool with you, and I want to help you out. But this is the amount that was agreed on. This is when it was meant to be paid. This is how it is meant to be paid. Divvy up.
Yeah, just because you're friends, that doesn't mean that it should play a factor in business decisions.
And just because you have a business decision doesn't mean you can't be friends. You can still be friends with a person. Keep the business part out of it. Aside. Engage in that professionally to the level and understand one another. Yeah, this guy has a job to do. So do you. You have to exchange money with each other in order to make stuff happen. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you know who really suffers from your squabbling, from the stupid little power plays made on this? Guess who suffers? It's not you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The attendees.
The attendees suffer. You know why? Because word of that gets around. A lot of people don't realize it, but people talk.
People talk. Word travels.
Fun fact, despite the fact that we spend our days with our faces buried in our phones, every now and then we use our mouths. When that happens, bad shit goes down.
And when that stuff happens, people will hear about the petty behavior of said convention staff. About arguing over money or personal politics, or I didn't like this person because he gave me a funny look 3 years ago at a bar when I didn't know him. What the fuck ever. People hear about that stuff and they say, you know what? This guy sounds like a jerk. What kind of convention is he running? Oh, it's pretty fun. Yeah, but this guy's a freaking jerk. I don't think we should go. Hey, 25 other friends who I've dragged along with me and convinced to come to this convention because I thought it was
cram you
fun.
into my car?
How about you all come with me and we go and take our business elsewhere? Okay!
Said 25 people as they cram themselves into a car.
And
I think we've pretty much made our point clear.
That was a hell of a point right there.
A hell of a point. You are on a roll tonight.
I am fired up and I'm hopped up on shit.
You are mad as hell, and you're not gonna take it anymore.
You're damn right I'm mad as
We
hell.
are mad as hell,
And
and
we're
we are
not gonna take it anymore.
Where's my
And
dad?
if you feel the same way, those who go to conventions, and if you feel the same way,
Then you gotta speak up.
You also need to get mad as hell.
get angry. Because you know what's
We're not
wrong.
saying we have the answers. We don't have the answers. We don't know what the fuck to do. We're just a bunch of other con goers and cosplayers and, artisans and people and shit too. But we don't have the answers. But if we got together and we unite and say, this sucks. This attitude sucks. If we can all get together and say that shit, then maybe we can get an idea going. Maybe we can come to these con heads and say, if you guys don't get your shit straight, go over there and make honey boo boo with each other and actually make up and be professional and stay friends at the same fucking time.
Seriously, if
we'll walk.
Seriously,
We'll
if
fucking
makeup
walk.
sex over at the corner is what it takes to get you guys as friends again, then do
Then
it.
get some KY jelly and bend over and take some swappy turns because it's gonna get hot and
Ring
sweaty.
the loo. We're about to do business.
And yes, it will be a slow jam.
Thank you guys for watching this episode. Tune in on episode 2, The Ravens Flock, Destination MegaCon.
This time we will not be stuffed into duffel bags. I can't fit in a duffel bag. Him, maybe, but not me.
I
You
can't
can't
fit
stuff
anymore.
Tyler in it either. We're all going, and guess what? We've got a little surprise as well. What is it?
Bigger duffel bags!
No!
Oh.
You know what it is? You tell him, because you're the fucking leader.
Well, it's quite simple. We're going to be hosting a small contest over at MegaCon Convention on Saturday, March 22nd?
22nd.
Wait a second.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. It's nothing too big. It's a 3DS contest of Mario Kart 7.
I believe he was starting to call it the Ravens Flock Rainbow Road Challenge.
Thank you. Oh, that's a better title.
Please don't
Ravens-
join us as we play the game that destroys friendships, ended marriages, and split several nations into smaller towns.
Mario Kart 7.
8 contestants. The winner gets the first prize. And what's the prize, gentlemen?
The beating heart of the rest of the team. Oh wait, sorry, no, wrong contest.
Actually, the first prize is a $25 cash prize for to use at MegaCon for the express purpose of going and getting the autograph of your favorite guests, along with some Raven Flock swag, including our brand new T-shirts and your own version of these nifty Raven Flock buttons.
Mind you that the T-shirt. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
The T-shirt's just going to be like a large or whatever, one size fits all. We don't know
One
who else
size
is going to
fits
win.
all. It'll be a T-shirt and it'll be autographed by all the members of the Raven Flock, including
So it will guarantee
us.
to be just as cool as anything else you can possibly get there that has not been signed by an actual voice actor. Hi Scott, how you doing?
Hi, Scott!
Stop! Anyways, that's all we have for now. We are the Ravens Flock, and we are signing off. I look at my castmates, my friends, and I can't be any more thankful than I am now that they stuck by my side. Every time, all the time, I keep saying, if I have an opinion, no one has to agree with me. Nobody. And they stuck to me like glue. And I want to thank all the viewers who watched the Ravens Flock in giving their comments and their opinions and their love. That being said, what we're about to say may or may not be a popular statement. we're not important people. We're not popular. We're just convention attendees like all of you. We go to cons, we meet with friends, we have fun, and so on. Over the years, I've observed what's right and what's wrong with the picture. And right now, I see a lot wrong with this picture.
There once was a time when our community was whole. We would all join and enjoy these conventions, regardless of whether or not we were a part of making them happen. Eventually, a subgroup formed within our little family. People began excluding others from group activities for trivial reasons. Eventually, this degenerative mindset found its way to people who were in charge of these conventions, people of authority. Not only were they allowing this negative attitude to occur within their cons, they were encouraging it and taking part of it, excluding people from stage shows and special events based on appearances and affiliations with others, regardless of auditions or any other agreements that have been made.
Eventually, the groups that splintered off decided to go off and form conventions of their own. And for a time, that was good. People could live in their own cycles, create their own cons, and adapt to their own tastes. It was fine for a while. Unfortunately, they too began to fall to the same forms of elitism that had befallen their brethren, choosing the cosplayers because of things like friendship, previous connections, appearances, all that crap. Sadly, the same rift that had affected the biggest cons was now beginning to affect the small ones as well.
But the worst part is that there are many within our community who refuse to speak for fear of being ostracized. Nobody has spoken about the topic until now.
And after all this time, enough was enough. That's why I started the Ravens Flock. I wanted to influence change in our community in whatever way I can. And now I think I know exactly what to say. I'm sick of this division. I'm sick of people having to choose one side or the other. I'm sick of this elitist mindset, these cliques, and the status quo that goes with them. Our family has been divided. It's time to put our differences aside and recognize that we are one.
There's an unprecedented event that's about to take place in May. The Omni Expo.
To put it in basic terms, the Omni Expo is a gathering of several different conventions, joining together under one roof to show all they have to offer to our community.
I couldn't think of a better opportunity to reunify the convention family other than this. The Omni Expo is on May 23rd through the 25th at the Marriott World Center in Orlando, Florida. We, the Ravens Flock, will be in attendance on May 24th, Saturday. Join us as we raise the banner for unification.
We must now stand together.
We must now stand together.
We must now stand together.
We must stand together.
We must now stand.
We must now stand.
We must now stand as one.
And as one.
As one.
We must stand as one.